The first time the signal appeared, most people didn't notice it at all. It blended into the background, slipped between familiar sounds, and passed without leaving a clear trace. Those who did notice it couldn't explain why it felt different, only that it did. Nothing obvious changed after that first transmission. Daily routines continued, conversations stayed the same, and life moved forward as if nothing unusual had occurred. That was the reason it worked. It did not interrupt. It observed, but the second time was different. Some people described it as quieter, even though the volume had not changed. Others said it felt delayed, as if it arrived slightly out of sync with everything else. A few insisted it carried a gap, something missing that they could not describe. What connected them was not what they heard, but what followed. The second signal did not introduce something new. It altered something familiar. People who had ignored the first transmission found themselves pausing without knowing why. Simple decisions took longer. Reactions softened. Conversations ended earlier than usual. Not out of conflict, but out of hesitation. There were no warnings and no explanations. No official acknowledgement that anything had changed, that absence was intentional. Patterns rarely announce themselves. They wait until repetition makes denial uncomfortable. Those who heard the signal twice noticed something unsettling. The signal was no longer testing whether it could be heard. It was observing how people adapted. Some adjusted quickly. They spoke less. They reacted slower. They stopped correcting things that once bothered them. Not because they were afraid, but because responding felt unnecessary. Others resisted without realizing it. They felt restless, irritated, as if something was wrong but impossible to locate. They searched for external reasons, never suspecting that the change was not happening around them, but within their response to it. The second signal was not stronger. It was clearer. It revealed who noticed patterns and who ignored them, who adapted quietly and who resisted without knowing why. And once that distinction became visible, the signal no longer needed to repeat itself, because by then it had already learned enough. Before this ends, listen again. The first time you heard the signal. This time, notice what changes. The first time the signal appeared, most people didn't notice it at all. It blended into the background, slipped between familiar sounds, and passed without leaving a clear trace. Those who did notice it couldn't explain why it felt different, only that it did. Nothing obvious changed after that first transmission. Daily routines continued, conversations stayed the same, and life moved forward as if nothing unusual had occurred. That was the reason it worked. It did not interrupt. It observed, but the second time was different. Some people described it as quieter, even though the volume had not changed. Others said it felt delayed,